Sami, I do apologise. We were supposed to have you on about 7 or 8 minutes ago, but the Moose dominated the airwaves. Good evening.
No. I was entertained, so no, absolutely no problem at all.
Brilliant stuff. So listen, Lukaku is now, it would appear, the biggest story around. Now, Declan Rice's move has been confirmed going to Arsenal. He's fallen out with Inter Milan. They pulled out the deal within the last 24 hours or so. Are Juve the only club now in for Lukaku?
Right now, it's looking that way. Obviously, the Saudi option is there. I'm not sure that that necessarily appeals to him. I think he sees a future in Italy. He's actually due back into Chelsea on Monday.
That's right.
So that will be very interesting to see if he actually reports or not. I'm led to believe that he won't.
Right.
So that will be interesting to see how Chelsea react to that. Moving forward in terms of Italy, I think Juve are the only club on the table right now, and I think he's moving towards that, and he wants that move. So it will be interesting to see if that can come to fruition. It obviously looked like he was all the way going to Inter Milan, and he wanted to go back there. For whatever reason, he's decided to turn his back on that move, and that's irked Inter Milan, I think rightly so also. So hopefully, for Lukaku's point of view, that situation can resolve itself before Monday, when he will actually be exposed as to whether he returns to training or not.
Sami, what about Liverpool? We look at Liverpool, and I'm hearing Fabinho's been taken off the pre-season tour. There's obviously movement with him and maybe Henderson to Saudi Arabia. Caicedo, Liverpool are in the running for them. Is this all depending on what happens to those two first?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think they would go for Moises Caicedo without one of those two moving on. Fabinho came a little bit out of the blue, but I think there's been a lot of negativity with regards to moves for players in their prime really going to Saudi. I get the negativity, I understand the negativity, but when the money is what the money is, it's difficult, and I understand the difficulty in these players saying no. But in terms of Liverpool's recruitment, if one of those two leave, Fabinho or Henderson, they will have to strengthen. They will have to get another midfielder, and I think it's pretty clear this summer that Jurgen Klopp wants to revamp his central midfield area. They've already obviously signed McAllister. They've signed Szoboszlai, and if one of those two were to go, I'd imagine they would look for another one. Whether Caicedo is within reach, I would have my doubts about that, to be honest. I think that's quite a way down the line with Chelsea. I still think there's some way to go before Chelsea and Brighton can agree a fee. But I think that if Caicedo was to leave Brighton this summer, I think it will be to Chelsea.
Do we know what the fee? Check, there's somewhere else from what we can gather at 30 million. Chelsea offers 70 in and around there. Brighton are trying to get to 100. Where do you think it might end up?
Yeah, I think it'll be 100 there or thereabouts, and
right.
Yeah, because Brighton will rightfully look at the Declan Rice deal and say, well, that's the benchmark. Caicedo is every bit as good as Declan Rice, so that's the going rate. And what we know about Brighton is when they value a player, they stick to their valuation. In terms of Caicedo in January, Arsenal would go in hell for leather trying to sign him in January. Arsenal didn't meet the valuation, and he wasn't sold. So Brighton are in a really strong position there, in my opinion.
Sami, I don't want to hear anything else, but he's staying put at Tottenham. But anything on Kane's situation, obviously with Bayern Munich, and obviously getting the green light to speak to Daniel Levy.
Yeah, I sorry to disappoint you, Darren, but I think that might have legs. I think that might have legs. All of the noise and all of the sounds coming out of Tottenham is that he's not for sale. He would have to take a ridiculous number. What my understanding is beyond £100 million, even closer to £120 million, if for Levy to even consider selling him, and that is a ludicrous amount for someone who is now inside the 12 months of his contract, who can sign on a free transfer for a foreign club in January. in 5 months' time, 6 months' time. But there's a little nagging doubt at the back of my mind that tells me that Daniel Levy's not going to want to lose Harry Kane.
What about Kane, Sammy? What about Kane? Because Kane holds all the cards here now, right? It's been a while since he's been in this position, but he has a huge amount of power. Is there a chance, do you think, that Kane may be looking at this situation and just, as you just described there, play out the next 11 months or so, sit down, stay at Spurs, and then walk on a free when his contract expires?
I think that's absolutely an option. The information that we were receiving in the week was that he's open to everything. And you're right, Jason. He's in such a powerful position at the moment. 2 years ago, when we all know he tried to get out of Tottenham to join Manchester City. He just didn't hold the cards in that situation.
No,
he had 3 years left in his deal. It's completely different now. The jeopardy for Daniel Levy is losing a player that in an ordinary market where if he had time left in his contract, 150 million plus for Harry Kane. And at the crux of it, Daniel Levy is a businessman, and he will look at that situation and say, look, there is probably a deal. As much as he doesn't want to sell him, there is a deal to be done here because we cannot lose this guy for nothing.
Sammy, do we know what the relationship is like between Kane and Levy? Because I have to say, you never really know what Kane's thinking. He's not one of these lads. You don't hear a great deal in the press, other than the situation when he tried to engineer that move out to Manchester City. But even after that, you didn't hear much. I just wonder, do you know what that relationship is like between the pair?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's still amicable, and it kind of has to be amicable. He's a figurehead of the football club, really. And I know Hugo Lloris, who's obviously it looks like he's going to be leaving this summer, is the club captain. But for all intents and purposes, Harry Kane is the captain. He's the figurehead of that squad, the figurehead of that football club, and it's only right, really, that the chairman and the captain or the figurehead are reading off the same hymn sheet. So I don't think there's any bad blood there. Right. But I just wonder if Harry Kane remembers 2 years ago when Daniel effectively stopped from joining for Manchester City. Listen, who knows how time would have played out, but Harry Kane would be looking at Manchester City's last season, last year, thinking, wow, that could have been me.
Listen, appreciate your time, Sammy. You've been a great lad. Apologies if we got to you late. I know you're a busy boy at this time of year, but I really do appreciate it. All right.
Have a good night, lads. Thank you so much.
Top man. There you are, Sammy Mokbel, football writer of the Daily Mail.